Everything, said Kay, who had regained his composure in listening. Everything that you say is in a certain sense justifiable. It is not untrue. It is only partisan. These are the landlady's ideas, my enemy's ideas. Even if you imagine that they're your own, and that comforts me, but they're instructive. One can learn a great deal from the landlady. She didn't express them to me personally, although she did not spare my feelings in other ways. Evidently, she put this weapon in your hands in the hope that you would employ it at a particularly bad or decisive point for me. If I'm abusing you, then she is abusing you in the same way. But Frida, just consider, even if everything were just as the landlady says, it would only be shameful on one supposition. That is, that you did not love me. Then, only then, would it really seem that I had won you through calculation and trickery, so as to profiteer by possessing you. In that case, it might even have been part of my plan to appear before you arm in arm with Olga, so as to evoke your pity. And the landlady has simply forgotten to mention that too in her list of my offences. But if it wasn't as bad as all that, if it wasn't a sly beast of prey that seized you that night, but you came to meet me, just as I went to meet you, and we found one another without a thought for ourselves in that case. Frida, tell me, how would things look? If that were really so, in acting for myself, I was acting for you too. There is no distinction here, and only an enemy could draw it, and that holds in everything, even in the case of Hans. Besides, in your condemnation of my talk with Hans, your sensitiveness makes you exaggerate things morbidly. For if Hans' intentions and my own don't quite coincide, still that doesn't by any means amount to an actual antagonism between them. Moreover, our discrepancies were not lost on Hans. If you believe that you do grave injustice to the cautious little man, and even if they should have been all lost on him, still nobody will be any the worse for it, I hope. It's so difficult to see one's way, Kay, said Frida with a sigh. I certainly had no doubts about you, and if I have acquired something of the kind from the landlady, I'll only be too glad to throw it off and beg you for forgiveness on my knees, as I do, believe me, all the time, even when I'm saying such horrible things. But the truth remains that you keep many things from me. You come and go. I don't know where or from where. Just now, when Hans knocked, you cried out Barnabas's name. I only wish you had once called out my name as lovingly as for some incomprehensible reason you call that hateful name. If you have no trust in me, how can I keep mistrust from rising? It delivers me completely to the landlady, whom you justify in appearance by your behavior. Not in everything. I won't say that you justify her in everything, for it was not on my account alone that you sent the assistants packing. Oh, if you but knew with what passion I try to find a grain of comfort for myself in all that you do and say, even when it gives me pain. Once and for all, Frida, said Kay, I conceal not the slightest thing from you. See how the landlady hates me, and how she does her best to get you away from me, and what despicable means she uses, and how you give in to her. Frida, how you give in to her. Tell me now, in what way do I hide anything from you? That I want to reach Clown, you know, that you can't help me to do it, and that accordingly I must do it by my own efforts, you know too, that I have not succeeded up till now, you see for yourself. Am I to humiliate myself doubly, perhaps, by telling you of all the bootless attempts which have already humiliated me sufficiently? Am I to plume myself on having waited and shivered in vain all an afternoon at the door of Clam's sledge, only too glad not to have to think of such things any more? I hurry back to you, and am greeted again with all these reproaches from you. And Barnabas, it's true, I'm waiting for him. He's Clam's messenger. It isn't I who made him that. Barnabas again, cried Frida. I can't believe that he's a good messenger. Perhaps you're right, said Kay, but he's the only messenger that's sent to me. All the worse for you, said Frida. All the more reason why you should be aware of him. Unfortunately, he has given me no cause for that till now, said Kay, smiling. He comes very seldom, and what messages he brings are of no importance. Only the fact that they come from Clam gives them any value. But listen to me, said Frida, for it is not even Clam that's your goal now. Perhaps that disturbs me most of all, that you've always longed for Clam while you had me was bad enough, but that you seem to have stopped trying to reach Clam now is much worse. That's something which not even the landlady foresaw. According to the landlady, your happiness, a questionable and yet very real happiness, would end on the day when you finally recognized that the hopes you founded on Clam were in vain. But now you don't wait any longer even for that day. A young lad suddenly comes in, and you begin to fight with him for his mother, as if you were fighting for your very life. You've understood my talk with Hans quite correctly, said Kay. It was really so. But is your whole former life so completely wiped from your mind, all except the landlady, of course, who won't allow herself to be wiped out, that you can't remember any longer how one must fight to get to the top, especially when one begins at the bottom, how one must take advantage of everything that offers any hope, whatever. And this woman comes from the castle. She told me so herself on my first day here when I happened to stray into the Lasemans. What's more natural than to ask her for advice or even for help? If the landlady only knows the obstacles which keeps one from reaching Clam, then this woman probably knows the way to him, for she has come here by that way herself. The way to Clam? Asked Frida. To Clam? Certainly, where else? Said Kay. Then he jumped up. But now it's high time I was going for lunch. Frida implored him to stay, urgently, with an eagerness quite disproportionate to the occasion, as if only his staying with her would confirm all the comforting things he had told her. But Kay was thinking of the teacher. He pointed towards the door, which any moment might fly open with a thunderous crash, and promised to return at once. She was not even to light the fire. He himself would see about it. Finally, Frida gave in silence, as Kay was stamping through the snow outside. The path should have been shoveled free long ago. Strange how slowly the work was getting forward. He saw one of the assistants, now dead tired, still holding to the railing. Only one? Where was the other? Had Kay broken the endurance of one of them? At least. The remaining one was still certainly zealous enough. One could see that when, animated by the sight of Kay, he began more feverishly than ever to stretch out his arms and roll his eyes. His obstinacy is really wonderful, Kay told himself, but had to add, he'll freeze to the railings if he keeps it up. Outwardly, however, Kay had nothing for the assistant but a threatening gesture with his fist, which prevented any nearer approach. Indeed, the assistant actually retreated for an appreciable distance.